So back in the shop today, it's about lunchtime. I'm fixing to go eat some lunch. I'll turn the camera around and show you what we're working on the Volkswagen. Got some filler spread in the back. It had a lot of waviness to the back panel back here. Had some grind marks where they cut some stuff off on the back, put a little bit of filler in them spots. I started blocking this panel some more and figured out there was a real high spot right in this area that had a lot more filler than what they needed. And it's low on the edge around the top and still just a little bit low down here compared to the door. So I was about to swipe it with some filler again, and just wanted to point out how much filler I've actually had to block down from where they put too much. Got a little bit of high spot here because right in this area is low, and right in this area is low. I'm not going to put any filler here until I take the fender off, but I'm going to swipe some up in here and on the top edge and bottom edge, and then just skim this really good. That way I can kind of cover up some transitions of filler, because I can still kind of feel it no matter how much I block. So I'm gonna try and get the contour right on fitting to the door on this side, and then start blocking the hood and the trunk, or hood and the trunk, however you want to call it. But the filler is dry on it, so I'm going to start blocking that stuff and get after it. Been working on the bug today. Got this back panel here pretty well straightened up. Some low spots and stuff up there where the vents grill area is. Got that straightened up. Got this side panel worked out pretty good. Ended up being a good low spot in this area. The one thing I've noticed messing with a Volkswagen for the first time is that these panels aren't really flat. They all got like a contour to them. So been trying to keep that contour instead of trying to block them flat. Right through here, just cleaning up this jam area. Didn't have to build it out really any. Just making sure that it follows the contour of the door too, because it's like a curve. It's not flat. Started blocking the rest of this panel, and then once I sand that jam up, I'll move on to the door and go around some spots that I've noticed. It's not necessarily I want to say flat, but it's not flat. It's contoured. But it's got kind of like a wave to it, like this area up in here that I had to fool with. But other than that, I hope there's nothing really more that's going to take a much more time than that panel there, because that panel there was pretty rough. You can see the difference in color of my filler is this, and all that other is the filler that they did from the other shop to get it to this point here, and a lot of it I had to cut down because it was way too high. Again, it's too high, but I get what they was doing to try and make the contour, but in turn they was leaving low spots in areas. So I believe I've got it pretty well where it needs to be. I've started working these fenders. They had a few spots that was needed a little bit of filler, low areas. I actually had to knock down a high area and fix it. I've noticed the back side. Let me turn this fender around without dropping it. The back side, if you watched any of my older videos or kept up with my channel, any of how I do patch panels and stuff, I like to make the panel not sit on the back side or the top side of the panel. I want it to be the same. I want the panel to fit into the hole that I'm welding up. Like if I'm welding up this hole, I want to be able to put that panel through it. I don't want it to stick on the edge of the hole and weld it up. because you'll get stuff like this where I can grind this down, but I don't know what they've done on the other side. So if I grind this down and it's actually sunk in on the other side and they just filled it up with filler, I'll be grinding out what they've done and then end up having to weld the holes back up. So it being on the inner fender, and I'm going to be spraying this with a gravel guard. So it's going to be heavily textured anyway on the back side here. I'm going to leave this like they have it. It's not something that I would do if I was welding it up, but in this case, this situation, I think it'll be fine. But I'll scuff up all the inner fender well when I get ready to do it and spray gravel guard, so it'll have a lot of texture underside on the underside of these fenders, which the other fender is the same way. I've got this one. The outside is ready for primer. The small, it's the engine cover, but I'm going to call it. That's what I'm going to call it. The engine cover that goes in the back. It's ready for primer. It's in there in the booth. I just got done cleaning up because it was trying to rust and stuff on the back side here. This fender is the same way. I just got done wire brushing all that up, so what I put on it's going to stick to it instead of it cause issues with rust. And also notice this fender was all gouged up and stuff. I don't know if they cleansed it for a wheel and tire or whatever, but I cleaned that up some too. And same with the other fender on the outside here. A few places, low places that needed to have some filler work done to it. This kind of had like a up and down waviness to it, so I'm going to try and get that to have a nice contour. But other than that, I'm going to block this stuff. The fenders and the engine cover is going to be ready for primer. I was starting to sand the outside of this hood, and then I looked under it, and it's really the first time I looked under it, but I want you to see how badly damaged this hood was. Look at that. And that is the cause of all the filler work and stuff that's having to be done on the outside. Now I asked not the owner, but I asked the person that is going to be putting this car together and everything, Bobby, and I asked him if because this is a trunk, the engine's not sitting under this panel, if there's like an interior panel that's going to cover all this stuff. And he says no. So if I leave this just like this, every time you open the trunk, you'll be able to see a lot of the damage of it. And as nice as this thing's going to be, the owner's not going to want that. My remedy, if it was mine, what I would do is have a custom liner put in, kind of like a headliner for this panel to cover up all this stuff, which I'm gonna get a hold of him and see what he wants me to do. But for me to work both sides of this hood and try and smooth it the best I can, this is going to take a lot of work. I mean, that is some mangled up stuff. And the patch panel, I don't know what they had in mind, what their plan was going to be on doing this, but this is going to take a lot of filler work and a lot of time to correct this and make it look halfway decent for when you open up this this hood. And I don't know what they got over here as far as, looks like some epoxy. I don't know what that's all about, but okay. I haven't been filming anything. I've just been knocking out that Volkswagen. You can see it's not in here. I got it in the booth right now. I just got it over there. Swept up all my dust. Man, it was a disaster in here. But I'll switch the camera around and show you what all I've done to the Volkswagen. I got it in here in the booth. I gotta tape up a few things that I don't want primer on, and then I'll be able to shoot some primer. Okay, I've got everything except for the small little mirrors and random pieces that I have in a box in the other garage, and the hood, which you've seen how bad the hood was. So I haven't got it ready for primer, but everything else is. Let me undo these doors so I can open them. This here is the driver's side. This is the panel that showed that had needed the majority of the work. And then the other places that you see that has filler, the color of filler that I use, it wasn't bad dents. It was just some low, some high spots that I worked to get it ready for primer. Some edge, they welded this lower piece of the door patch panel, I guess, was rusted, and they wrapped it around the corner. It didn't look too good. There was a dent in the jamb right here, a pretty good size one. Worked it out. Got the jamb looking pretty good on the actual body part of it. If you look up at the top, I didn't add any filler. You can see my color is yellow. All that was there. All of that, why it you could see it and not. And I took it past the primer, was it was real wavy up there. I had to block a lot of it, a lot of high spots that I had to take down to get the low spots out of it. And that right there is pretty good. Like 2 good coats of primer on it, I think it'll block out real nice. This back panel, it had a lot of issues I covered previously in the video. I guess you would call that the firewall. Few places that I guess little wire holders and stuff was on that was grounded off. Smoothed them up a little bit. This side was in a lot better shape. I didn't add any filler to the quarter panel or the door. Just blocked it out. Had some high areas right here, blocked it out good. Worked the rail a little bit because it had some low spots and some waves in it. Got that a little bit better. I think there's a couple low spots up there fixed, and this jamb was a whole lot nicer. I didn't have to do any work but sand it. Oh, the dash, it had quite a few dents in it. I don't know, some of them may have been factory because of the placements that they was at, but I went ahead and smoothed them up so it'd be nice and smooth. There's a good sized dent up in here. Added some filler to that, got that all took care of. Low spots on the front up here, got that took care of. High spot up there, got it blocked down. I don't know if that around the windshield area would have shown or not, but it had some waves to it. Smoothed it up a little bit. This front up here was good. I don't need to do any work inside here or anything, so I'm going to be taping it up. There is a few low spots on this cowl, but it all blocked out really good. The fenders, this fender here, I think I showed you it. Had a no, I think I showed you the rear fenders already, but this front fender here had a little bit of low spots in it. This one all blocked out good. Rear fenders, which I think I've already showed you, got them all blocked out, ready to sand in the trunk. So yeah, I'm going to tape up some areas that I don't want primer on, and this thing's ready for primer. I'll get some primer on it. I'll be coating my filler work everywhere there's filler still showing. I'll put 2 good coats on it, and then 1 good coat on everything else. And you know what? No, I'm gonna put 2 good coats of primer on all my filler places, and I'm not gonna primer the areas that didn't get any filler. And then I'm gonna come and I'm gonna block them places that I put the primer on with 220, 180 or 220, whatever I decide. And then I'll come back and prime the whole thing, 2 good coats, and then block with 400 and get it ready to paint. So shouldn't take too much longer on the Volkswagen. This hood is going to be the most time consuming. Gotta clean up the inside and the outside of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this primer on this either tomorrow or the next day. I'm about to pull in a customer's car that showed up today. He is in, it's a Fox body Mustang. He's bought some fiberglass, Schonik, however you want to say his name, however you want to pronounce it. I believe it's Schonik. But he's got some fiberglass doors to replace his factory ones. I'm going to show you how to mount them, trim them, mount mirrors on them. This molding is going to go on the fiberglass doors. Those handles are going to go on the fiberglass doors, but they're going to be dummies. The handle is going to go into the inside. I'm going to have a hole in the optic armor glass, so you can open it using that instead of the actual handles. And yeah, I'm going to show you all that. I'm going to paint match them, get it as close as possible to the red that's on the car. So look forward to that. I may make that into a whole another video. But I cleaned up a spot in the garage. I actually got my built small tire rear end under my Fox body, under the coupe car, and got it moved over here to the lift, kind of get it out of the way, give you some more room. But enough rambling. I'm going to open this door out, let all the heat out, and pull this car in. Well, we got primer on everything for the Volkswagen in here. Put some guide code on it like normal. Everything looks to be going to be pretty good, which primer hides a lot of stuff, so you don't know until you actually sand it. But I put a good coat of guide code on this one. I'll be sanding with the 220 for the most part on this. I'll run over everything, prime one more time, and sand it with some 400 and get ready to paint this thing. Got some primer and guide code in the back firewall. Looks a lot better with some primer and stuff on it. I put some tape on the back side so I wouldn't get excessive primer on stuff that I didn't need to. Just like tape this jam up at the top. I needed primer on this rail, but not necessarily in the jam. Primered the dash, got rid of the dents, got some guide code on that, of course. But yeah, we got primer on everything on the Volkswagen top. So let this dry. I'm going to work on the Mustang in the other garage and get the doors put on it, let this dry real good, and then we'll get back on sanding and blocking this thing and get some more primer on it. I'll probably just leave it over here to do that instead of getting the other shop all dusty again. But I'll catch you on the next one.